Hi, how have you been doing?
Good. How have you been lately?
I've been doing well. How was your drive in?
It wasn't too bad. I thought I was going to get lost, but it wasn't too bad getting here, actually.
Okay, well, that's great. Have you been doing this week, do you think?
Um, I've been a little slow this week, a little sluggish. I don't know what it is, but it's harder to get out of bed in the morning, and I'm not really motivated to do the things that I usually do around the house. So it's been a slow week.
Okay, all right. That sounds difficult. Would you say that this is worse than it's been before?
Um, Not necessarily worse. I think there are highs and there are lows. There's some weeks where I wake up and I'm just ready to do all the things that I need to do, and then once in a while, you get into these ruts where you're unmotivated.
Okay, so it's just maybe this week things are just a little bit harder.
Yeah, I think so. I'm sure it'll pass.
Have you done anything this week other than stuff around the house?
Um, Not a lot. I did manage to make it to the grocery store, but that about encompasses all that I've accomplished this week.
Well, that's definitely something, especially if you're feeling sluggish and tired. So I know that last time we met, you asked if we could discuss your relationship with your son. And if you're still interested in discussing that, would you let me know a little more about your relationship and what's going on and what you want to discuss?
He and I have a special sort of relationship. I mean, he stays busy a lot of the time, so I don't talk to him very often. He's an adult. I don't think he has time to talk to me anymore. He has his own life going on. So once in a while I'll get a phone call, or he may swing by just to check on me to make sure everything's okay. But I just think he stays very, very busy.
Is he working or working
He
on
does.
projects?
He does. He works very hard. He works for a firm. And when he gets home from work, he has a wife and he has a daughter and he has things to do. So it's hard to fit yourself in around that.
Okay. So it sounds like you're feeling a little bit excluded, would you say?
I would say. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really make a lot of time. It's very rare that he picks up the phone. He does sometimes. I should give him that. But, he doesn't make a lot of time for his mother anymore. But, I'm old and he doesn't have time for these things.
Well, that sounds really difficult, but it does sound like he's a really hard worker from what you're explaining.
Yeah, well, I guess so. You know what I would say he is. He's a very responsible boy. But I think sometimes he needs to work on his priorities.
That's understandable. So, it sounds like this has been something that's been weighing on your mind for a while. Have you expressed any of these thoughts to him?
You know what? Not really. Not in a few years now. It's kind of hard to explain it to him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's just gonna shrug it off or say I'm being silly or dramatic. So I just avoid it altogether. When I get to talk to him, I try to keep it light and civil, and sometimes it's just easier that way. I don't want to open something up when I already don't see him enough as it is.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like from what you're saying that you had approached this with him before?
I attempted, but not as stubborn as I used to be.
So you don't feel like that was a productive conversation?
Not particularly, no. I probably wasn't assertive as I could have been, but again, seeing him rarely as I do now, it's not something I wanted to push.
Mm-hmm. So, it sounds like you've been having trouble just being assertive with him because maybe out of fear of how he'll react?
I would say that's pretty accurate.
Okay. I mean, it's always very difficult to say things that we don't necessarily know how someone will react to. And I'm wondering if in the past you can think of any times that you have been able to say something that was difficult to someone and you weren't really sure what the reaction would be, and maybe the reaction wasn't as bad as you thought it would be?
Well, when I was a bit younger, husband or even my parents when I was younger. I had no problem saying something when something needed to be said. And even when he was young, still living in the house, I think that once he moved out and got his own life and grew up, that things became a little bit more difficult. Because I'm not responsible for him anymore.
So, do you think maybe this week you could try reaching out to your son in trying to convey some of what you've been feeling, maybe trying to be a little more assertive this time?
I could certainly try and talk to him. I'm not sure how well it would be received or how well it would go over at all, but I could certainly give it a shot.
And I really look forward to hearing how it goes. I hope you do go through with it, and we can check in about that next week if you want. I think that maybe what you might want to focus on is, obviously it will be difficult to hear his reaction if it's not positive, but it seems like this is something that's definitely weighing on you, and I think the focus maybe for us will be more on you getting across what you need to say versus how it's received, because it might not be received very well, but at least you will have said your piece.
That is true. I think it only bothers me more now just because as I get older, there's less people in my life I have to communicate with. So him being such an important piece of that puzzle, it's disconcerting when we have issues or when we butt heads.
Okay. I mean, that's understandable, and I can understand your fear about if he doesn't receive it well, that you might even see him less. But I have faith that you will be able to say it in a way that he doesn't feel the need to be defensive. And if he does have a poor reaction, then that's something we can discuss next week.
Okay.
So, like we mentioned, last week you said that you were feeling really stressed, and we talked a little bit about self-care. So I was curious to know how you feel like you've been doing taking care of yourself this week.
Probably not as well as I should be. Like I said, it's been a very, very hard week for me. Health-wise, I'm just not motivated to do a lot. So, I'm not getting up out of bed as much anymore. I'm spending a lot more time on the couch than I generally do. So it's not the best week for me. It's not awful. Just really, I took it as it went.
Okay. And so I know that you had said that your blood sugars have been kind of out of control, and I was wondering how you were doing with the eating healthier and the walking.
Again, this week I haven't really. I did, like I said, make it out to grocery shop, so at least I have a few things to eat a little bit healthier this week. But I don't know. My diabetes has been acting up, and I know I should be walking more to try to regain control of it, but I just haven't made it around this week to do so. But hopefully it'll get better next week, and I'll become a little bit more motivated and get control of that. I certainly don't want to follow this slope downhill.
I mean, it sounds like, obviously it's been a very rough week, and so it's been hard to get many of the things that you want to get done. You did go grocery shopping, so that's great. That's still something, and I'm sure it took a lot of effort to go grocery shopping, especially when you were feeling so poorly. But it sounds like it's really important to you to get your sugars under control and feel healthy again.
Absolutely. I want to be able to get up and walk around and do things and drive around, pick up my granddaughter. Those are things that are important to me. So I'll absolutely have to find a way to regain control of that.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like you're struggling to be motivated to walk outside, would you say?
Yeah, I would say so. I spent a lot of time in and reading this week, or, watching TV, not doing a lot of anything, but, I don't know.
Yeah. So, I'm sorry that it's been so rough for you this week, but I've been thinking about maybe a little assignment that I've done with some other clients, and it might sound a little bit silly, but I wonder if it would be helpful for you in one of the moments when you're feeling a little bit more motivated to write a letter to yourself for the times when you're not very motivated, so that you can read it and kind of reinforce the reasons that you want to eat healthier and exercise to control your diabetes. And I was thinking maybe that's something you could work on this week. Just a letter to your less motivated self, explaining how much you want to be healthy, or even coaching or encouraging yourself, because I feel like when you do have those brief moments of motivation, it's really important to capture that. Do you think that's something that you would be willing to do?
I mean, I could certainly try it. It does sound a little bit silly, write a letter to myself, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
It does sound a little bit silly, but I'm really glad that you're willing to give it a try. I'd love to hear how that goes next week, whether you were able to write the letter, if you refer to it at all when you were feeling less motivated.
Right.
So that's another thing maybe you can work on over the course of the week until we meet again.
Okay.
Okay. So that's a great goal for next week. In addition to talking to your son about what's going on, but it sounds like you're still very stressed right now. Would you say that's the case?
I would say so.
Okay. So there's an activity that a lot of people do, and it's actually been researched quite thoroughly. It's called progressive muscle relaxation.
I haven't quite heard of that. Is that like meditation or yoga or something like that?
It's similar, but progressive muscle relaxation is kind of a controlled way of going through and tensing all of your muscles and then relaxing them one by one, so that you get more used to the sensation of what it feels like when you're really anxious and your muscles are really tense. So that way, when you catch yourself being really tense, you can just kind of remind yourself to relax your muscles, and you can do it one by one or all at once. Just and as well, some people do this actually before they sleep. It's actually known to help a lot of people sleep, which I know you said you've struggled with. So hopefully you won't be sleeping in the office today. But if it's something you're interested in, I definitely can guide you through it today, and then give you we have a little handout about how that goes if you want to try it at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so here's what I'd like to do. Mm-hmm. So find a comfortable position in your chair, and if you're comfortable, you can close your eyes. A lot of people like to do that because it's for the relaxation. And I'm going to kind of lead you through tensing and relaxing each of the muscles, and then when we're done, I'll let you know that we're finished.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and close your eyes. So why don't we start by taking 3 big deep breaths. So inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. So we're going to start with the feet. So you can curl your toes downward and kind of tense your feet.
Okay.
And relax. And then we're going to tense up our lower leg and foot. So you can tighten your calf muscle by pulling your toes towards you. And then relax. And then we're going to do our entire leg. So we can squeeze the thigh muscles and tense them. And relax. And now we can take our hands and clench our fists really tight. And then relax. And then your entire right arm, you can tighten your biceps by drawing your forearm up towards your shoulder and make a muscle while clenching your fist. And relax. And then we'll do the same thing with the entire left arm, where you can clench your fist and draw your forearm up towards your shoulder and make a muscle. And relax. We're going to tense our stomach, so you can sort of suck in your stomach and tense your abdominal muscles. And relax. And then we're going to tense our chest, and the way we'll do that is by taking a really deep breath and holding it. And relax. And then we're going to do our neck and shoulders. So you can raise your shoulders up to touch your ears. And relax. We're going to stretch our mouth, so you can open your mouth really wide enough to stretch the hinges of your jaw. And relax. We're going to move on to our eyes, so we're going to clench your eyelids tightly shut. And relax. Then we're going to move to the forehead. Raise your eyebrows as far as you can. And relax. So we're finished, and when you're ready, feel free to open your eyes, take your time.
Oh, it's bright.
How was that for you? How do you feel?
I feel sleepy.
Sleepy. Okay, that's definitely to be expected. How would you say you're feeling emotionally?
Maybe a little more calm. It might be something I might be able to practice, early in the morning when I first get up. Kind of mentally prepare me for my day.
That sounds like a great idea. It's kind of like your morning stretches. It's just a routine to go through. We're just about out of time, so I'm going to give you a copy, actually, since you said you're interested in doing it in the mornings. You can take this home with you and work on it. And people do it different ways. Some people will work from the top down. Some people will do, it takes a little bit longer, but do each side, alternate sides, etc. Instead of doing both of them at once.
Right.
So before we wrap up, is there anything in particular you want to discuss next week?
Nothing in particular I can think of. I
Okay.
just know that I'll have a note to talk to you about and my conversation with my son.
Yes, it would be great if we can check in about those next week. And I have here that our next appointment is at 4 on Friday. Is that what you have?
Yep, that's what I have.
Okay, great.
Perfect.
Well, have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you on Friday.
All right, thank you so much.